Hi everyone, welcome back to All for the Kids with Miss C. We are back with another part of our Geronimo Stilton Lost Treasure of Emerald Eye book. We are on part 6, so if you haven't seen or listened to parts 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, the video links will be in the description below, and I hope you guys enjoy. The Trunk of Many Wonders. I found myself adrift in the icy sea. I thrashed about for a long time, spitting out salty water. Monster-sized waves kept rolling me around. I felt like I was stuck in the rinse cycle of a giant washing machine. Suddenly, I caught sight of a little gray furry thing. "Benjamin!" I cried, grabbing him by his tail. As if by magic, the wind stopped. I looked around. The lucky lady had vanished without a trace. We needed something to hold on to, and then I saw it. Well, happy birthday to me. And to Benjamin too, of course. It was my trunk. I grabbed it with all my mousely strength. Safe. We were safe. Standing upright on the trunk, I scanned the horizon for Thea and Trap. Not a head or tail in sight. By afternoon, I was beginning to lose hope. But then I spied two very, very small dots in the distance. My heart beat so fast, even my fur stood up to see what all the fuss was about. "Thea! Trap!" I shouted at the top of my lungs. It was my sister and my cousin, all right. I paddled out to them, paws flying. "Take hold of my tail," I shouted as I dragged them in. "I really thought it was the end, cousin," panted Trap, collapsing onto the trunk. Thea wrapped her tail around mine. "Big brother, I'm so glad you're okay," she sighed. I hugged her tight. Tears rolled down Thea's wet, furry face. Trap was crying too, for different reasons. "The Emerald Eye," he sobbed. "We'll never find it now without the map." I glanced at my sister. For some reason, she was grinning. "Did someone say map?" She slipped a paw under her sweater, and out came a crumpled up map. "Crunchy cheese chunks," shouted Trap. He threw his paws in the air, like he'd just won tickets to the Super Mouse Bowl. "Hooray, hooray, hooray!" Just then, Benjamin opened his eyes. "How are you doing, little mousie?" I asked him. "Uncle, is it you, Uncle Geronimo?" he murmured. "Yes, my dear little Benjamin, it's me," I whispered warmly. "Everything is going to be all right now. You'll see. Goodbye, silk pajamas." Thea tried to review the situation. "According to my calculations, we should be right near Treasure Island," she said. Then she pointed to a black and white dot in the sky. "A pelican! That means we are really close." Just then, Trap gave a loud shriek. I jumped. "What is it?" "Do you always have to shout like that?" I complained. "I've got an idea," he squeaked in my ear. Then he grabbed the trunk's handle, trying to lift the lid. "What are you doing? Do you want to throw us all back in the water?" I protested. Trap was waving his arms around in the air. "Why are you flapping your arms?" I shouted at him. "Are you going to tell us you can fly now too?" Trap kept waving excitedly. "Pajamas, belt, blue stripes," he cried. Finally, he managed to rip my comfy blue and white striped pajamas out of the trunk. Then he tore them in 2 pieces. "I really am a genius. I'm so clever it frightens me at times," my cousin giggled. He was beginning to sound like a rat who's eaten too many slices of American cheese. "We'll just use this rag to make a sail." "Rag? You call this a rag?" I screamed. "These are my silk pajamas with silver buttons. They cost me a fortune. They have my initials embroidered in gold." "Well, isn't that just like you to be so selfish?" Trap sighed. "We're talking about a treasure here, and you're worried about your pajamas. Geronimoid, you amaze me." I gnashed my teeth together. "Do not call me Geronimoid. My name is Geronimo. Geronimo, got it?" There was nothing left to do now but rig up Trap's pajama sails and take off. We were all terribly thirsty. "My tongue feels like it got stuck in a sandbox at Scampertown Park," mumbled Trap. "I would give anything for some ice cream. Do you remember that ice cream parlor, the Icy Rat? The air conditioning in that place was always on full blast. You could freeze your fur off just waiting for your hot cheese sundae." Sweat dripped down my snout. Why did Trap have to go on about ice cream? I was starting to have visions of cheddar cheese sugar cones floating on the water. The next morning, a peal of thunder shook the sky. I licked my snout and it was covered with drops of water. The rain was pelting down like a jet of a shower. I swallowed the drops that fell on my tongue. I was in mouse heaven. Thea and Trap danced their paws off. Then, as suddenly as it had come, the rain stopped. We hugged, then winding our tails together, we squeaked, "Friends together, mice forever." Land ho! Finally, at sunrise on the 8th day of our pajama sailing adventure, I heard someone squeak, "Land ho!" I stared at the island emerging from the waves. It got closer and closer. The sea flowed beneath us like an emerald green carpet. Ben was the first one to reach the island. The beach was covered with fine white sand. When my cousin landed, he flopped onto his belly and kissed the ground. Then he turned towards us, snout covered in sand. He looked like he had just eaten a donut. "Ratlings," he said, "no one is going to unglue me from this spot. From now on, I am a land mouse, not a sea mouse, and proud of it." Emerald green. Deep green water, green plants, green grass, green trees. Treasure Island would be the perfect place for a St. Pat Rat's Day party. The whole place looked like nature had colored it with a magical green paintbrush. We dragged the trunk onto the beach and began to explore the island. We worked hard to cut a path through the thick plants and shrubs. We struggled over giant rocks covered in slippery moss. Then we tried following a line of leafy green palm trees. It was tough going. We had been hiking for about 10 minutes when we heard a voice. It sounded like running water. No, not just plain old running water, like when you fill a bathtub. This was loud running water. We turned the corner and there it was, a wonderful, beautiful waterfall. It rushed down from the top of the cliff into a lake of crystal clear water. On the other side of the waterfall stood a tree so tall even the clouds had to step aside to make room for it. Its enormous roots clung to the rocks like a cat with a tuna sandwich. The island was thick with fruit-bearing trees. Bananas, mangoes, and papayas hung over our heads. For a minute, it felt like I was strolling through the supermarket. I picked some fruit and took it back to my friends. Benjamin shrieked with joy as he hurled himself onto a big slice of papaya. "Jerry had brought us lunch," shouted Thea, jumping out of the water. "Hooray, way to go, Geronimos! I'm starved," squeaked Trap. "Geronimos? Geronimos? How many times do I have to say it? If I've told you once, I've told you 100 times. My name is Geronimo. Why, oh why do I always have to repeat it?" Well, that's the end of part 6, boys and girls. Next up, we are going to read part 7, and it's going to start with the chapter called Line Up. I hope you guys enjoy. Hi all for the kids. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you guys enjoyed that last video that we just watched. If you did enjoy it, please let me know by hitting the subscribe button, giving that video a like, and turning your bell notifications on so you can get notified when the next video is loaded.